In a distant and forgotten forest, there lived Luna, a hare burdened by her fears. Fears of illness, loneliness, and failure surrounded her like a dense fog, making every step and every leap difficult. She lived in a constant state of alert. Her life was shaped by precautions that kept her isolated. Luna avoided touching flowers, afraid of their thorns, and stayed away from rivers, despite her thirst. All of this to protect herself from invisible dangers. Luna, a naturally fearful hare, lived a life guided by extremely cautious habits, all designed to shield her from hidden threats that, in her mind, might lurk in every corner of the forest. Her daily routine was filled with meticulous rituals of cleaning and caution. Every morning, even before considering stepping out of her burrow, Luna would spend considerable time cleaning and thoroughly brushing every bit of her fur, hoping to remove any particle or pollen that could carry germs. She followed a specific path whenever she ventured out, always avoiding the denser parts of the forest, where the air seemed still and, to her, filled with risks. Luna avoided drinking water directly from rivers, fearing contamination. Instead, she collected morning dew on large leaves, believing it to be purer and safer. When it came to food, Luna was just as careful. She chose fruits and vegetables from the higher parts of plants, away from other animals, and washed everything diligently before eating. Interacting with other animals was another source of great anxiety for Luna. She kept a safe distance during conversations, fearing close contact might spread diseases. Social events in the forest, such as celebrations and gatherings so important to the community, were moments of isolation for Luna, who watched from afar, wanting to join, but frozen by fear. With all these fears, loneliness crept into her heart, tinting her life with shades of melancholy. By shielding herself from the world to avoid illnesses, Luna had unknowingly built walls between herself and the warmth of true friendships. In the rare moments when she sought company, she found herself surrounded by acquaintances who barely understood who she truly was or what she genuinely valued. These interactions, though briefly filling the silence, always left a feeling of emptiness. These superficial friendships, born more out of convenience than genuine mutual interest, were like dry leaves blown by the wind, present but without roots. Conversations revolved around trivial matters, never reaching the core of her dreams, fears, or hopes. Luna realized that by protecting herself from one harm, she had exposed herself to another. The painful feeling of being surrounded, yet essentially alone. Luna's loneliness wasn't just a lack of company. It was the absence of connections that resonated with her true self. She longed for friendships like a tranquil, clear stream, where she could see and be seen without masks, where vulnerability would serve as a bridge for mutual understanding and support. Her dream was to compete in the Great Forest Race, an annual celebration of speed and skill. However, the fear of failing and the shame of not being enough stopped her from signing up. The fear of failing had taken deep root in her heart, like a shadow that followed her, silent yet persistent. The Great Race wasn't just an event for Luna. It symbolized an inner battle where her greatest fears and desires clashed. Year after year, as she watched the competitors with admiration and a hint of envy, Luna promised herself that next year would be different, that she would find the courage to join. But year after year, that promise dissolved under the crushing weight of doubt. In her mind, Luna rehearsed every step of the race, imagining herself leaping over roots and speeding down straight paths. But those fantasies were soon replaced by visions of stumbles and falls, of muffled laughter and pitying looks. The fear of failing became so overwhelming that she avoided not only the race, but any opportunity to prove herself. The paralysis caused by her fear of failure spread beyond the race. Luna began declining invitations to explore new parts of the forest, to join games, and "what if I'm not good enough?" became a question she dared not answer. Luna withdrew to her burrow, where the fear of failure was a constant but familiar companion. It was during one of these introspective moments that Luna found an old journal hidden among her things. It was a record of her early days in the forest, filled with observations and small victories. As she turned the pages, she remembered a time when fear didn't dominate her life, a time when the joy of exploring outweighed the dread of the unknown. This journey into her past rekindled in Luna the desire to once again be the Hare who embraced life with curiosity and enthusiasm. With this new outlook, Luna began to challenge herself, taking small steps at first, like running through the forest without a specific destination, feeling the wind in her fur and the solid earth under her paws. She started joining others in playful activities, learning to laugh at herself when things didn't go as planned. For the first time in a long while, the idea of competing in the Great Forest Race felt less like a test of her insecurities, and more like an adventure to be experienced. When race day finally arrived, Luna signed up, not with the expectation of winning, but with the desire to fully participate, to embrace the experience wholeheartedly. At the starting line, her heart beat not with fear, but with excitement. She knew that, regardless of the outcome, she had already won her most important battle. By overcoming her fear of failure, Luna also began to confront her worry about illness. She realized that, by meticulously avoiding any risk, she had deprived herself of the richness of shared experiences and the genuine warmth of friendships. Carefully, but with growing confidence, she began to take part in small gatherings with other animals. Initially, she stayed on the sidelines, observing and interacting cautiously, but over time, she relaxed and opened up more. Inspired by her newfound courage, Luna started adjusting some of her rigid practices. She recognized that cleanliness was important, but there was a healthy balance to be found. She also modified her diet, beginning to choose food based on nutrition and enjoyment, rather than merely avoiding contamination. Luna learned to trust her ability to make healthy choices without being ruled by fear. Thus, Luna overcame her fear of loneliness, learning to appreciate her own company and finding peace in solitude. She chose friendships that brought joy and growth, transforming her sense of isolation into one of freedom and self-discovery. Moral of the story: Luna's journey teaches us that overcoming fear requires more than just willpower. It requires intentional actions and small steps toward change. Recognition. Identify your fears. Naming them is the first step to gaining power over them. Gradual exposure. Face your fears gradually. If you fear illness, start with small outings. If you're afraid of loneliness, spend time getting to know yourself better. Celebrate small victories. Each step is an accomplishment. Acknowledge your progress. Cultivate healthy relationships. Surround yourself with people who support and understand your journey. Acceptance. Accept that fear is part of life, but you choose how to respond to it. Luna shows us that by adopting these practices, we not only face our fears, but also discover joy and freedom on the other side. And, just like Luna, each of us can turn the fog of fear into the bright light of courage and personal growth. If this message resonated with you, consider sharing it with friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.